Ever felt like you're different from everyone else? Like you're carrying a secret that no one else understands? Well, if you've ever thought you might be a chosen one, you're in for a wild ride. Being special sounds amazing, right? But here's the kicker. It often comes with a heavy price. That price? Feeling really, really alone. Today, we're diving deep into why chosen ones often find themselves on a lonely path. It's not all doom and gloom, though. By the end of this video, you'll understand why you feel so different and what you can do about it. Now, you might be thinking, hold up, what's all this talk about chosen ones? Don't worry, we're getting to that. But first, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. It's like being at a party where everyone's laughing at a joke, but you don't get it. Or watching a movie where everyone else cries at the sad part, but you're just not feeling it. That's because you're tuned into a different frequency. You're picking up on things that others just can't see or feel. And let me tell you, that can be pretty lonely. But here's the thing. This loneliness isn't a mistake. It's not a flaw in who you are. In fact, it might just be a sign that you're on the right track. Yeah, you heard that right. Your loneliness could be proof that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me, and I'll show you why this makes perfect sense. Okay, let's break this down. When we talk about a chosen one, we're not talking about some movie hero with a magic sword. Nope, it's way more real than that. A chosen one is someone who's been picked for a special job in life. It's like the universe looked at you and said, yep, that's the one. They've got what it takes. Now, this special job isn't like being a doctor or a teacher, though it could include those things. We're talking about a spiritual purpose. It's bigger than just a career. It's about why you're here on this planet at this exact time. Chosen ones often have strong spiritual feelings. They might sense things others can't. They might have dreams or visions that seem super real. Or they might just have this nagging feeling that they're meant for something more. But here's the catch. Being chosen doesn't mean your life is going to be all rainbows and unicorns. In fact, it often means the opposite. You're going to face challenges that other people can't even imagine. You're going to see the world in a way that can be both beautiful and terrifying. And a lot of the time, you're going to feel like you're the only one who gets it. Think of it like this. Imagine you're the only person who can see colors in a world of black and white. At first, it might seem amazing. You're seeing all these incredible things that no one else can see. But after a while, it gets frustrating. You try to describe a sunset to someone, and they just look at you like you're crazy. That's what being a chosen one can feel like. But don't get me wrong. Being a chosen one isn't a curse. It's a gift. It's just a gift that comes with some pretty heavy responsibilities. You're not just living for yourself anymore. You're living for a bigger purpose. And that can be scary, exciting, and lonely all at the same time. Now, I know what you're thinking. Am I a chosen one? How can I tell? Well, buckle up, because we're about to get into it. There are some pretty clear signs that you might be on this special path. And let me tell you, if you're nodding along as we go through these, you're probably in the club. First up, you've got this feeling. It's hard to describe, but it's like there's a fire in your belly, a sense that you're meant for something big. You might not know what it is yet, but you know it's there. It's like having a mission, even if you don't know what the mission is. You just know you've got one. Next, you're super sensitive. And I don't mean you cry at sad commercials, though you might do that too. I'm talking about being sensitive to energies, to people's feelings, to the world around you. You might walk into a room and instantly know if there's tension in the air. Or you might feel drained after being in crowds, like you're soaking up everyone else's emotions. It's like you're an antenna picking up signals that others can't even detect. Here's another big one. You've got a strong sense of right and wrong, not just following rules, but a deep, gut feeling about what's just and what isn't. You might find yourself speaking up against unfairness, even when it gets you in trouble. You can't stand by and watch injustice happen. It's like you're wired to fight for what's right. And let's not forget about the weird experiences. Maybe you've had dreams that came true, or you've seen things that others can't see. Maybe you've had moments where you just knew something was going to happen before it did. These aren't just coincidences. They're signs that you're tapped into something bigger. But here's a sign that's often overlooked. You feel different, and you always have. Even as a kid, you might have felt like you didn't quite fit in, like you were watching the world from the outside. It's not that you can't make friends or be social. It's just that there's always been this sense that you're not quite like everyone else. Now, here's the thing about these signs. They're not always easy to live with. Being sensitive means you feel everything more deeply. Having a strong sense of justice means you're often frustrated with the world. And feeling different? Well, that's where the loneliness comes in. But remember, these aren't flaws. They're not things you need to fix or change. These are your superpowers. They're the tools you've been given to fulfill your purpose. The trick is learning how to use them without burning yourself out. And that's where things get tricky. Because being a chosen one isn't just about having these gifts. It's about learning to use them in a world that often doesn't understand them. It's about staying true to your path when everything and everyone around you is telling you to just be normal. But here's the secret. There's no such thing as normal. Everyone's got their own path. Yours just happens to be a bit more, let's say, adventurous. And sure, that can be scary. It can be lonely. But it's also incredible. Because you're not just living life, you're on a mission. You're here to make a difference. So if you're reading this and thinking, yep, that's me, congratulations. You're part of a pretty special club. It's not always an easy club to be in, but trust me, it's worth it. Because you're not just here to exist. You're here to change the world. And that, my friend, is pretty amazing. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so I'm a chosen one. Why does that mean I have to be alone? Well, that's what we're going to dive into next. Because understanding why you feel alone is the first step to not feeling so alone anymore. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this part. It might just change everything for you. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the loneliness. If you're a chosen one, you've probably felt it. That deep, aching sense of being alone, even when you're surrounded by people. It's like being in a crowded room but feeling like you're behind a glass wall, watching everyone else have fun while you're stuck on the outside. But why? Why does being special come with this heavy side of lonely? First off, let's get one thing straight. This loneliness isn't because there's something wrong with you. It's not because you're broken or weird or don't know how to connect with people. In fact, it's often the exact opposite. You're lonely because you see and feel things so deeply that it's hard to find others who get it. Think of it like this. You're a penguin in the desert. Now, penguins are amazing creatures. They're built for swimming in icy waters, sliding on snow, and huddling together for warmth. But drop a penguin in the middle of the Sahara, and suddenly all those special adaptations don't seem so helpful. That penguin is going to feel pretty out of place. That's you, in a world that's not always ready for what you bring to the table. You see, as a chosen one, you're often operating on a different level than those around you. You're tuned into frequencies that others can't hear. You're seeing colors in a world that often seems black and white to everyone else. And that can be incredibly isolating. Let's break it down a bit more. Remember how we talked about being sensitive to energies and emotions? Well, that sensitivity is like a superpower, but it's also exhausting. You might walk into a room and instantly feel overwhelmed by all the emotions swirling around. While everyone else is having a good time, you're trying to process a tsunami of feelings that aren't even yours. It's no wonder you might want to retreat and be alone sometimes. Then there's your sense of purpose. You know you're here for something big, even if you're not quite sure what it is yet. But that sense of mission can make it hard to relate to everyday concerns. While your friends are worried about what to wear to a party, you're contemplating the meaning of life or how to solve world hunger. It's not that their concerns aren't valid. It's just that you're often operating on a different wavelength. And let's not forget about those weird experiences we talked about. Maybe you've had spiritual encounters or psychic experiences that you can't explain. Trying to talk about these things with people who haven't experienced them can be, well, let's just say it doesn't always go well. You might get blank stares, nervous laughter, or worse, people might think you're making things up. After a while, it's easier to just keep these experiences to yourself. But keeping such a big part of who you are under wraps, that's a recipe for feeling alone. But here's where it gets really tricky. As a chosen one, you often have this deep desire to connect with others, to help them, to make a difference in their lives. You're here on a mission, after all. But that same mission can make it hard to form deep connections. You might find yourself holding back, not sharing your full self because you're afraid of being misunderstood or rejected. Or you might pour yourself into helping others, only to feel drained and unappreciated. It's like being a superhero with a secret identity. On the one hand, you've got these amazing gifts and this big purpose. But on the other hand, you can't always share that part of yourself with the world. You're walking around with this incredible secret, but keeping it to yourself can feel incredibly lonely. And here's another thing. As a chosen one, you're often pushed to grow and evolve at a rapid pace. Life has a way of throwing challenges at you that force you to level up quickly. While this growth is amazing, it can also mean that you're constantly outgrowing relationships and situations. You might find yourself looking around and realizing that the people and things that used to fit just don't anymore. And that process of constant growth and change, it can be incredibly isolating. But here's the thing about this loneliness. It's not just a cruel joke the universe is playing on you. It's actually a crucial part of your journey. Yeah, you heard that right. This loneliness, as painful as it can be, is serving a purpose. It's pushing you to go deeper, to connect with yourself on a level that most people never reach. It's forcing you to confront your fears, your doubts, and your own power. It's shaping you into the person you need to be to fulfill your mission. Think about it like this. A diamond starts out as a lump of coal. It's only through intense pressure and heat that it becomes something precious and beautiful. Your loneliness is that pressure. It's uncomfortable, sure. It can even be painful, but it's transforming you into something incredible. And here's another secret. This loneliness is also protecting you. It's keeping you from getting too comfortable, from settling for less than what you're meant for. It's a constant reminder that you're here for something big. If you were always surrounded by people who completely got you, who never challenged you to grow or change, you might never step into your full power. But I get it. Knowing that loneliness serves a purpose doesn't always make it easier to bear. There are going to be nights when you feel like the only person awake in the world. There are going to be times when you look around and wonder if anyone will ever truly understand you. And in those moments, it's okay to feel the weight of that loneliness. It's okay to wish things were different. The key is to remember that this feeling, as real and as heavy as it is not the end of your story. It's just a chapter, a really important chapter, but not the whole book. Because here's the truth, you're not actually alone. There are others out there like you, other chosen ones who are feeling the exact same way. And part of your journey is going to be finding them. But before we get into how to find your tribe, because trust me, we're going to talk about that, there's something else we need to discuss. Something that plays a big role in why chosen ones often feel so alone. And that's the misunderstanding you're likely to face from others. Because let's face it, being a chosen one isn't just about feeling different. It's about being different. And that difference? It can be pretty hard for others to understand. Let's face it, being a chosen one isn't just about feeling different on the inside. It's about being different in ways that others can see, and sometimes in ways that make them uncomfortable. This is where the real challenge begins. Because it's one thing to feel like you don't fit in, but it's a whole other ball game when others start treating you like you don't belong. Here's the thing. Most people like things they can easily understand. They want the world to fit into neat little boxes. But you, my friend, you're the square peg in a world of round holes. And that can ruffle some feathers. When you start talking about your spiritual experiences or your deep insights, you might as well be speaking a foreign language to some folks. They look at you like you've grown a second head, and suddenly, the room gets a little quieter. It's not that these people are bad or mean. Most of the time, they just don't get it. When you talk about feeling energy or having prophetic dreams, they might think you're making it up or that you've lost touch with reality. They might pat you on the head and say, "That's nice, dear," in that tone that really means, "I think you're a little crazy, but I'm too polite to say it." And let's talk about those moments when you share your big dreams or your sense of purpose. You know, Those times when you're bursting with excitement about changing the world or fulfilling your spiritual mission. Well, get ready for some blank stares and awkward silences. People might tell you to be more realistic or to get your head out of the clouds. They don't mean to burst your bubble, but their words can feel like a bucket of cold water on your fiery passion. Then there's the way you see the world. As a chosen one, you often see beyond the surface. You might question things that others take for granted. Why do we do things this way? What's the deeper meaning behind this? These questions that burn in your soul might seem pointless or even threatening to others. They might accuse you of overthinking or making things complicated. But for you, it's not about complication. It's about seeking truth and understanding. And don't even get me started on those times when your intuition kicks in. You know, those moments when you just know something, even if you can't explain how or why. Try explaining that to someone who relies solely on logic and hard facts. They might dismiss your insights as wishful thinking or coincidence. It's like trying to describe colors to someone who only sees in black and white. But here's where it gets really tough. Sometimes the people closest to you, your family, your oldest friends, they can be the hardest to deal with. They knew you before you really stepped into your chosen one role. They have an image of who you used to be, and they might struggle to accept the person you're becoming. They might worry that you're changing too much or going down a strange path. Their concern comes from love, but it can feel like they're trying to hold you back. And let's not forget about the expectations people put on you once they do accept that you're special. Suddenly, you're supposed to have all the answers. You're expected to be perfect, to never make mistakes, to always know what to do. It's like they forget that being chosen doesn't mean being infallible. You're still human, still learning, still growing. But that's hard for some people to understand. All of this misunderstanding can lead to some pretty lonely moments. You might find yourself censoring what you say, holding back your true thoughts and feelings to avoid weird looks or uncomfortable silences. You might stop sharing your experiences altogether, keeping a huge part of yourself hidden away. And while this might make social situations easier, it also deepens that sense of isolation. But here's what you need to remember. The misunderstanding you face isn't a reflection of your worth. It doesn't mean you're wrong or that your experiences aren't real. It just means that you're ahead of the curve. You're tuned into frequencies that others haven't accessed yet. And while that can be lonely, it's also incredibly valuable. Think of it this way. Every great change in history was led by people who were misunderstood at first. The ones who saw things differently, who challenged the status quo. Being misunderstood isn't a flaw. It's a sign that you're onto something big. Your job isn't to make everyone understand you. It's to stay true to your path, even when it feels like you're walking it alone. Now, let's talk about something that every chosen one feels but doesn't always know how to put into words: the weight of responsibility. Being a chosen one isn't just about having cool spiritual experiences or insights. It comes with a sense of duty that can feel as heavy as a backpack full of rocks. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. Everyone's got their own pack, filled with their daily worries and responsibilities. But as a chosen one, your backpack is a little different. It's not just filled with your own stuff. Nope, you're carrying extra weight. You've got the fate of the world in there, or at least it feels that way sometimes. This responsibility isn't something someone just handed to you. It's not like you woke up one day and found a letter saying, "Congratulations, you're now responsible for making the world a better place." Instead, it's a feeling that grows inside you. It's knowing that you see things others don't, that you understand things on a deeper level. And with that understanding comes a sense that you're supposed to do something about it. Here's the thing. This feeling of responsibility can be both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it gives your life meaning. You're not just here to pay bills and watch Netflix. You're here to make a difference, to help shift the world in a positive direction. That's pretty amazing, right? It can fill you with a sense of purpose that many people spend their whole lives searching for. But on the other hand, it can be exhausting. You might feel like you can never really relax. While others are out having fun, you're worried about big picture stuff. How can I help heal the world? How can I spread more love and light? How can I fulfill my spiritual purpose? These aren't light thoughts. They're heavy, and they're always there, sitting in the back of your mind. And let's talk about the pressure. Oh boy, the pressure. As a chosen one, you often feel like you can't mess up. Like every decision you make is super important. Choose the wrong path, and you might be letting down not just yourself, but the whole world. That's a lot to carry around. It can make even small decisions feel huge. Should I take this job or that one? Should I move to a new city? Should I speak up about this issue? Everything feels weighted with cosmic significance. Then there's the feeling that you're always on call. Like a spiritual emergency responder, you feel responsible for jumping in when things go wrong. You sense the pain in the world, the injustice, the suffering, and you feel like it's your job to fix it. But here's the kicker. You're just one person. You can't fix everything, no matter how much you want to. And that gap between what you feel you should do and what you actually can do, that can lead to some serious guilt and frustration. But wait, there's more. I know, like you needed more, right? As a chosen one, you often feel like you need to be an example for others. You know you're here to help raise the vibration of the planet, to help others wake up to their own spiritual nature. But that means you feel like you need to have your act together all the time. You need to be the calm in the storm, the light in the darkness. And let me tell you, trying to be a perfect spiritual being in an imperfect human body is no easy task. All of this responsibility, all of this pressure, it can make you want to hide away sometimes. To find a cave somewhere and just be alone, where the weight of the world isn't on your shoulders. And you know what? That's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's necessary. Because here's the secret that many chosen ones take a long time to learn. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't carry that heavy backpack if you don't take time to rest and refuel. Learning to balance your sense of responsibility with self-care is one of the biggest lessons on the chosen one's path. But even when you learn to balance things better, that sense of responsibility doesn't go away. It's part of who you are. It's woven into your spiritual DNA. And while it can be heavy, it's also what makes you special. It's what drives you to keep growing, learning, and trying to make a difference. Think of it like being a superhero. Sure, Spider-Man probably wishes sometimes that he could just be Peter Parker, hanging out with his friends without worrying about saving the city. But deep down, he knows that his powers come with a responsibility to help others. That's you. Your spiritual gifts, your insights, your deep connection to something greater, they come with a responsibility. It's not always easy, but it's your path. And here's the thing about that path. It's uniquely yours. Nobody else can walk it for you. Nobody else can carry your specific backpack. That's why it can feel so lonely sometimes. Because even when you're surrounded by people who love and support you, at the end of the day, you're the one who has to make the choices, take the actions, and bear the weight of your mission. But remember this, you weren't chosen by mistake. You were given this responsibility because you can handle it. Even when it feels too heavy, even when you're not sure which way to go, you have the strength within you to keep moving forward. And every step you take, every time you choose to embrace your role instead of running from it, you're not just changing your own life. You're changing the world. Now, I know we've talked a lot about the tough stuff, the loneliness, the misunderstanding, the heavy responsibility. It might seem like being a chosen one is all about struggle. But hold on, because we're about to flip the script. All that difficult stuff we've been talking about, it's not just a burden. It's also your greatest opportunity for growth. Let's start with the loneliness. Yeah, it's hard. It can make you feel like you're on the outside looking in. But here's the thing, that alone time, it's like a cocoon. It's in those quiet moments, when you're not distracted by trying to fit in or make others comfortable, that real transformation happens. Think about it. When you're alone, you have the space to really listen to your inner voice. You know, that quiet whisper that often gets drowned out by the noise of everyday life. In your solitude, that voice gets louder. It's like turning up the volume on your intuition, your higher self. And let me tell you, that voice has some pretty important things to say. It's in these moments of aloneness that you start to unpack your true feelings, your deepest thoughts. You begin to understand yourself in a way that's just not possible when you're constantly surrounded by others. You start to see your patterns, your fears, your true desires. It's like finally getting a clear look in a mirror after walking around in a fog. And here's a secret. This self-understanding, it's your superpower. Because when you truly know yourself, you become unshakable. The opinions of others, the misunderstandings, the pressure, they start to matter less. You develop an inner strength that no external force can touch. But it's not just about self-discovery. This alone time is also when you do some of your most important work. Remember how we talked about being tuned into different frequencies? Well, in your solitude, you can really dial into those frequencies without interference. This is when you might have your biggest insights, your most profound spiritual experiences. It's like having a direct line to the universe, and trust me, the universe has a lot to say. Now, let's talk about those misunderstandings we mentioned earlier. Yeah, they're frustrating, but they're also pushing you to grow in ways you might not expect. Every time someone questions you, every time you have to explain yourself, you're forced to get clearer on what you believe and why. It's like you're constantly refining your understanding, sharpening your thoughts. And you know what else? Those misunderstandings are teaching you compassion. Because the more you experience being misunderstood, the more you understand how it feels. And that makes you more patient, more kind to others who might be different or misunderstood themselves. You're learning to bridge gaps, to communicate across divides. These are skills that are going to be crucial for the work you're here to do. Now, about that heavy responsibility we talked about. It's weighty, sure, but it's also the thing that's pushing you to become more than you ever thought possible. It's like weight training for your soul. Every time you feel the pressure of your purpose, every time you step up to a challenge that seems too big, you're growing stronger. This sense of responsibility forces you to step out of your comfort zone. It pushes you to learn new skills, to face your fears, to become a leader even when you'd rather hide in the background. It's turning you into the person you need to be to fulfill your mission. And let me tell you, that person is pretty amazing. But here's maybe the biggest way you're growing through all of this. You're learning to trust yourself. In a world that often tells you you're wrong, that your experiences aren't real, that your goals are too big, you're learning to stand firm in your truth. You're learning to trust your intuition, your insights, your path. And that kind of self-trust? It's rare. It's powerful. It's world-changing. And you know what else? All of this growth, all of this self-discovery and strength-building, it's not just for you. As a chosen one, your personal growth has a ripple effect. Every time you overcome a challenge, every time you learn a new lesson, you're raising the vibration not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. You're blazing a trail that makes it easier for others to follow. Think of it like this. You're not just growing, you're evolving. And as you evolve, you're helping the whole world evolve with you. Your loneliness, your struggles, your heavy responsibilities, they're all part of a bigger picture. They're shaping you into a force for change, a beacon of light in a world that desperately needs it. So yes, the chosen one's path can be lonely. It can be misunderstood. It can feel heavy. But it's also a path of incredible growth, of deep wisdom, of world-changing power. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become more of who you're meant to be. Every moment of loneliness is a chance to connect more deeply with yourself and with the universe. And here's the beautiful thing. As you grow through these challenges, as you become more and more yourself, something magical starts to happen. You start to attract others who are on a similar path. You start to find your tribe. Because while the chosen one's path can be solitary, it doesn't have to be solitary forever. There are others out there like you, growing through their own challenges, ready to connect on a deeper level. Now, after all this talk about loneliness and feeling different, you might be thinking, great, so I'm just destined to be alone forever? Hold up there, chosen one. That's not the end of the story. Not by a long shot. Because while your path might often feel solitary, the truth is, you're not the only chosen one out there. There are others like you, searching for their tribe, just waiting to connect. Think of it like this. You're a puzzle piece with a unique shape. For a long time, you might have been trying to fit into puzzles where you just don't belong. But out there, somewhere, is the puzzle you're meant to be part of. Your tribe, your soul family, is waiting for you. And finding them? Well, that's part of your journey. But here's the thing about finding your tribe as a chosen one. It's not always as simple as joining a club or chatting up people at a party. Your connections are likely to be deeper, more meaningful, and sometimes a little bit magical. You're looking for people who speak your language, who understand your experiences without you having to explain every little detail. So, where do you find these kindred spirits? Well, they might pop up in the most unexpected places. Maybe it's in a meditation class or at a spiritual retreat. It could be in an online forum about metaphysics or at a workshop on energy healing. Sometimes, it's as simple as following your interests and passions. Because when you're doing what lights you up, you're more likely to attract others who are on a similar wavelength. But here's a secret. Sometimes, finding your tribe isn't about searching at all. It's about becoming. As you step more and more into your true self, as you embrace your chosen one status instead of hiding it, you naturally start to attract others who are on a similar path. It's like you're sending out a signal to the universe, and the universe responds by bringing the right people into your life. And when you do start connecting with your tribe, oh boy, it's something special. It's like finally being able to take a deep breath after holding it for so long. These are the people who get your weird jokes about quantum physics. They don't bat an eye when you talk about your vivid dreams or your spiritual experiences. Instead, they lean in, eager to share their own. With your tribe, you don't have to explain why you feel so deeply, why you care so much about things that others dismiss. They understand the weight of the responsibility you carry because they're carrying it too. In their company, you can let your guard down. You can be your full, magical, chosen oneself without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. But here's something important to remember. Your tribe doesn't have to be big. You're not looking for a crowd here. Even one or two people who really get you can make all the difference. Quality over quantity, always. And these connections? They're often soul deep. It's like recognizing a part of yourself in someone else. You might feel like you've known them forever, even if you've just met. Now, finding your tribe doesn't mean you'll never feel lonely again. You're still a chosen one, after all. You're still going to have experiences and insights that are uniquely yours. But having a tribe means you have a safe space to return to, a place where you can recharge, where you can be understood, where you can remember that you're not alone in this journey. And here's another beautiful thing about finding your tribe. It's not just about what you receive. It's also about what you give. In your tribe, you have the opportunity to be for others what you've been longing for yourself. You get to be the one who listens without judgment, who understands the unspoken, who supports without question. And in doing so, you grow even more. So, chosen one, if you're feeling alone right now, hold on to hope. Your tribe is out there. They're looking for you just as much as you're looking for them. Keep being authentically you. Keep shining your unique light. Because that light, it's like a beacon guiding your soul family right to you. All right, chosen one, we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about the loneliness, the misunderstandings, the heavy responsibility. We've explored how these challenges help you grow and how you can find your tribe. But now, we're getting to the heart of it all, embracing your path. Because being a chosen one isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you choose again and again, every single day. Let's be real for a moment. Being a chosen one is tough. There are days when you might wish you could just be normal. Days when the weight of your purpose feels too heavy, when the loneliness cuts too deep. And you know what? That's okay. It's natural to have doubts, to wonder if you're really cut out for this. But here's the thing. You were chosen for a reason. The universe, God, the divine, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't make mistakes. You're not on this path by accident. You're here because you have something unique to offer, something the world desperately needs. And embracing your path? That's where the real magic happens. Embracing your path starts with acceptance. Acceptance of who you are, of your gifts, of your challenges. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, yep, I'm different. I'm a chosen one. And that's not just okay. It's amazing. It's about stopping the fight against your true nature and instead leaning into it with all you've got. But let's be clear, acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for your destiny to unfold. Nope, embracing your path is an active process. It's about making a choice every single day to step into your power, to use your gifts even when it's scary, to speak your truth even when your voice shakes, to keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. Think of it like this. You're the hero in your own epic story. And like any hero, you're going to face trials and challenges. There will be moments of doubt, moments of fear. But it's in choosing to keep going, to keep growing, that you become who you're meant to be. Every time you choose your path, you get stronger. You become more you. Embracing your path also means being gentle with yourself. Remember, being a chosen one doesn't mean being perfect. You're still human. You're allowed to make mistakes, to have bad days, to need rest. In fact, learning to balance your human needs with your spiritual mission is part of the journey. It's not about being a perfect spiritual being. It's about being a whole, integrated you. As you embrace your path, you'll find that things start to shift. The loneliness doesn't disappear, but it becomes less heavy. You start to see it as a tool for growth rather than a burden. The misunderstandings from others stop bothering you so much because you're standing firm in your own truth. The weight of responsibility becomes less of a weight and more of a privilege. You start to see how your unique perspective, your gifts, your very presence is making a difference in the world. And here's something beautiful. As you fully step into your chosen one status, you give others permission to do the same. You become a living example of what's possible when someone embraces their true nature. Your light doesn't just illuminate your own path. It lights the way for others. But embracing your path isn't a one-time thing. It's a journey, a daily practice. There will still be challenges. There will still be days when you question everything. But each time you choose to embrace who you are, each time you choose to keep walking your path, you get stronger. You become more you. So, chosen one, embrace your path. Embrace your gifts, your sensitivity, your deep knowing. Embrace your ability to see beyond the surface, to feel what others can't feel, to know what others can't know. Embrace your mission, your purpose, your unique role in this grand cosmic dance. Remember, you're not just walking this path for yourself. You're walking it for all of us. Every step you take, every time you choose to shine your light, you're helping to raise the vibration of the entire planet. You're part of a bigger picture, a grand design that we may not fully understand, but that is unfolding perfectly. And so, chosen one, we come to the end of our exploration. But really, it's just the beginning. Your journey as a chosen one isn't a destination you reach. It's a path you walk every day. It's a journey of continuous growth, of deepening understanding, of expanding love. Yes, this path can be lonely at times. Yes, you'll face misunderstandings and challenges. Yes, the weight of responsibility can feel heavy. But remember, these aren't obstacles to your journey. They're part of your journey. They're the very things that are shaping you, growing you, preparing you for the incredible work you're here to do. Your sensitivity? It's your superpower. It allows you to feel the heartbeat of the world, to sense what needs healing, to connect deeply with others and with the divine. Your difference? It's your gift to the world. In a sea of sameness, you bring a fresh perspective, a new way of seeing and being that has the power to change everything. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your tribe is out there, waiting to connect with you. And even in your moments of solitude, you're connected to something greater, to the universe itself, to the divine plan that placed you here at this exact time for a specific purpose. So, chosen one, keep walking your path. Keep shining your light. Keep embracing all that you are, the magic and the mundane, the spiritual and the human. Trust in your journey, even when you can't see the road ahead. Because with every step you take, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world. You are seen. You are valued. You are needed. Your unique gifts, your deep insights, your boundless love. The world needs them now more than ever. So stand tall in your chosen one status. Embrace your path with all its twists and turns. And remember, you're not just chosen. You're choosing. Choosing to show up, to do the work, to be who you're meant to be. This is your journey, chosen one. And it's beautiful. It's powerful. It's world-changing. Keep going. Keep growing. Keep shining. The world is waiting for your light.